What's going on, everybody? Hope everyone is having a fantastic evening. I have a very special guest with me, member of the Orange Bowl Boys, Toast. Thank you so much again, man, for taking time out of your night to join my show. I love you guys. I've been listening to you guys since the Kendall to Kendall chants, your episode with Chris Fowler, Blake James, the Brad Kaya house stories that they used to live in with tragedy and burials. Everything is great. So Thank you so much, Toast.
Listen, man, we're having a lot of fun doing it. Three of us have been friends for a long time, and just glad that we could kind of share our stories as just a conduit for Miami fans. And it's been taking off. It's been a good, fun, like two and a half years now. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Glad you guys created this kind of radio podcast show that we all as fans can listen to. So let's get into it, man. What are your thoughts on this early signing day class? Top 10 right now. We have 2 5-star recruits, something we haven't done since 2010. Plus, I think this is fairly to say the highest ranked quarterback we've recruited in Jake Garcia. What are your thoughts?
So listen, obviously I love the class. The first thing I want them to do is I want them to stop calling it early signing day, because now it's National Signing Day.
Right.
I get that there's still officially another window, but there's only like a handful of guys left. So call this the main window, but whatever. So, hey, but listen, it's a great class. Props to Manny. Props to listen. That's something that they have been able to do since he's been here, is that they recruit their asses off. He's brought in some great guys, Fields, the whole crew. They're doing an awesome job. Love the Jake Garcia. I would tell everybody to chill out a second. And don't forget that there was already a 4-star that came in last year that already has a year under his belt. Fellow Connecticut boy, if you will, like myself. So I am, So listen, you have to get a quarterback every cycle. So that's great that they did, and great that they got one that we believe is going to. I mean, I'm looking forward to the potential of that QB battle between those two at some point. Hopefully, not this coming off season, but one later on. And so it was a great class. Outside of the one area that we are inept, and that's cornerback.
Right.
And I don't even know at this stage. I don't even know what to do. I don't know what to say. Everything's been said. Every joke's been made. I mean, I don't even. There's nothing. It's just like, okay, hey, well, whatever. We're Miami. No cornerbacks. We'll figure it out somehow. So that's how I feel about this class.
And Toast, referring to that statement, how worried should we be that we literally have 0 cornerbacks a part of this class? Yes, Malik Curtis can play corner, but he's not a true corner. He's really an athlete. Do you know why we can't recruit corners? Do you have a specific reasoning for that? I have my opinion.
I think first of all, I will give the coaching staff the benefit of the doubt on Malik. They recruited him as a cornerback.
Right.
You can call him an athlete. You can say he played wide receiver in high school. They see him and recruited him as a quarterback. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, and they better be right about this one. He better stick, and he better be able to play cornerback. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. As for the bigger issue, listen, I love Mike. He's a legacy. He won a ring with us. I mean, I love when those guys come back and they're part of the program. And I have been his biggest defender. But it's getting tougher and tougher every single cycle. And the worst part is that it's local kids.
Right.
It started off with kids that played for him at Heritage and then didn't want to play for him at Miami. And now somehow they talk to the kids behind them and they're telling them some sort of stories. I don't know, but he's repelling kids. And even when they remove him from the equation recruiting wise, and they focus have Banda and Fields and everyone focus on the cornerbacks, the fact that he's still going to be their position coach, I guess, is enough to just be like, yeah, no, we just lost out on a 3-star STA kid to Michigan. Michigan, like what is going on in it's a dumpster fire right now. I mean, losing out on a cornerback to FSU right now, how does that happen? You should be able to recruit circles around them right now. I should be able to convince a kid to take Miami over Michigan or FSU. I don't know why we can't.
So I think one issue is that we kind of go full court press for certain recruits. For example, Jason Marshall Jr. And then the under the radar guys like a Jaden McBurrows out of St. Thomas Aquinas, we don't really pay attention to him, and Miami's not in contact with him until the end. Also, look at Boris Dawson out of Fort Myers. He was committed to Auburn. Gus Malzahn He gets let go. Now he's looking for other schools. Texas A&M just offered him. So we're not really in contact with these recruits, specifically under the radar guys, until towards the end of signing day. We try to make a late push, and I think that's what gets us every time.
Well, and I think that's the double-edged sword. And I think that there's fault on both sides. I think there's fault on the coaching staff, and I think there's fault on us, the fan base, because we are so pre-consumed with the 4 and 5 stars that are local. They got to stay home. You got to keep them home. You got to keep them home. Now, we all know that there are plenty of 3 stars down here that are going to be studs. But because the competition is because there's so many kids, some of these kids don't get looked at properly, don't get looked at long enough. And that's where the coaching staff, being based in South Florida, we have to know these kids better than any recruiting agency does. Yep. And we also have to have our convictions to know that we're going to target this 3-star. We're going to ignore the 2 4-stars in Broward, but we're going to go after this 3-star in Fort Myers, and we know he's the guy. And we don't care what they say on Twitter. We don't care what the Orange Bowl boys say on the podcast. We don't care what Paul says on Scoop the U. We don't care any of that stuff. We believe in our board, and we're going to go with our board, and that's where the issue is. Something is not right there. So, yeah.
Toast, who's your favorite recruit in this class and why?
Well, all right. Well, for my favorite recruit, I guess I'd say Leonard Taylor. But I think the most important recruit is Malik Curtis. Yeah. Seriously, I believe that's the most important recruit. It's the only cornerback we have. We only have 5. I mean, we only have 5 scholarships. You know, other schools have 10, 11, 12 cornerbacks on scholarship. I mean, Jason Marshall's going to Florida, which I believe already had 11 or 12 on scholarship. He'll be number 13. Like, he would have started here next year as a true freshman. He will not be starting at Florida next year. He may redshirt. So yeah, so that would say, yeah, I'll go with LT as my favorite, but I think the most important is Malik.
It's funny because in the ACC rankings, kind of they have like recruits and like the coaches and their own rankings themselves. Like Rhett Lashley, Coach Fields, and Band are actually in the top 10 of the ACC.
Yes, they are.
You drop all the way down, you meet Coach Packey down at 43. Love at like 121. Yep. It's a huge drop off.
Yeah.
So
I think both those guys you just mentioned should be worried about things. I think I wouldn't buy a new house if I were either one of them.
Hey, by the way, speaking of the coaching staff, this is a very hot take right now, Toast. What are your thoughts on the defensive coordinator position moving forward? How should we evaluate the defensive staff right now?
The defensive staff needs to have about half of it cleaned house. He needs to go offense on what he did to the offensive staff last year. He has to go on defense this year. Blake's got to be gone. I'm sorry. Dude, and it's not even the 700 total, over 700 total yards against UNC. If I told you before that game we were going to hold Howell and UNC to 250 yards passing and 1 touchdown, you would have taken that all day long, and you would have said we're going to win this game by 20. It's the 554 you gave up on the ground. They had a 300-yard and a 200-yard rusher. That will never happen in the UNC program ever again. There will never be another game in which they have 2 guys that put up those numbers ever again. So Blake's got to be gone. As much as I love him and the legacy, Rump's got to be gone, and Packey as well got to be gone. Those 3 guys have to be gone. And I hate it, but I don't know who you replace him with. So I don't know who that name is. I don't know who the young hot defensive coordinator guy is going to be. But I would, now that signing day is over, I would like for them to make the move before the bowl game, because I want folks to know that the DC spot is open down here. Manny can handle the DC for the bowl game. Right. He can handle calling the defense and setting that up for the bowl game. They can take care of that. But I want it known that job's open as soon as possible, because I don't want to miss on anybody. I want those hot candidates out there to know, hey, whoa, I'd like to go down to South Florida. I just got 15 inches of snow up here. I wouldn't mind going down to Miami. My wife sure wouldn't mind. So let's go.
And Toast, I know that was your opinion on, you want him gone before the bowl game.
Yes.
There was a quote by Manny Diaz stating, "We will evaluate everything at the end of the season." That's the same exact quote that he gave last year regarding the offense with Manny, and we know the story, the Louisiana Tech game, Shreveport, Louisiana. Jaron Williams, what did he do again? He kind of just shoveled past, taking off before halftime. Enos is ripping him. Lose 14-0, get shut out. Do you really think, now take away your opinions to the side,
right?
Do you think in Manny Diaz's eyes he will let go of Blake Baker this season?
Yes, because I believe Manny is fully aware that he is not in a secure position as a head coach. Everyone can say, oh, it's only his second year in the pandemic, this and that. That's fine, but Manny had already been here a bit. He's got a little bit of a little stink on him from the way Texas ended. And I don't think that he is nearly as secure as most folks would go ahead and lead you to believe. Especially, let's just understand, he has now been here for just 2 years.
Yeah,
he has overseen the worst loss in program history, hands down. Nothing is close to what happened against FIU at the hallowed ground that once was the Orange Bowl. Worst loss. He needs to win a natty for that to for us to stop talking about that. That will never go away. That will lead off. That will be the first line of his bio for his tenure at Miami, unless he wins a national title.
So I always tell everyone, Temple's second option was Manny Diaz. My first option was Manny Diaz. I always tell people that it really is mind-boggling.
But listen, but that goes above that. I mean, listen, I have views that I think that there needs to be a change above him.
Ooh, interesting. Okay.
At the Heck Center. I believe that the person there right now did a phenomenal job in terms of fundraising and all of that and getting all those facilities built. And that's what he's great at. When it comes to picking a head coach and building a football program, not his strong suit, in my opinion.
The applicants were there. Mario Chris,
yes, they were.
Dan Mullen.
Well, let's not get on that one. I back him in turning down Dan Mullen twice.
Oh man.
Stop with that guy. I think there's the two coaches that came out of the pandemic were the worst looking this year, Dabo and Dan. Just with their comments, oh God.
I love the Darth Vader costume, man. That was hilarious. That was the icing on the
cake. Can you imagine if Manny did that? That would have been the lead on Sports Center. They would have been crucifying us. There would have been op-eds written in the back page of Sports Illustrated about, oh my God, we can't do anything.
Toast, how would you assess Rhett Lashley's first year at Miami? I know a lot of people thought it was very repetitive at times, very simplistic, his play call, but I broke down the improvements under Dan Enos from Rhett Lashley. I mean, the offense has improved.
Oh, no, yeah. I would say, as a grade, I would give Rhett a B minus on the year. I would say that he implemented a brand new offense, which is awesome. I would say that it was a bit inconsistent this year. It wasn't fire. I don't know that we only saw a few glimpses of it truly firing on all cylinders in a few games here and there. But the fact that he had to install a whole new offense and he had a brand new quarterback to do it with. And so with all of that, so I'll go ahead and give him a B. I expect next year this offense can take another step forward. I believe that you will see a different level to offense next year, especially if Tierra comes back.
Speaking of Tierra King, Toast, do you think Tierra King will come back next year or he will declare for the NFL draft?
I believe he will come back. And I hope he will come back. I believe the program is best served by him coming back. Not to be a greedy fan, I would much prefer to have him under center for Alabama next year, week 1.
Yeah.
Also, I was talking about how I'm looking forward to a quarterback competition between Tyler and Jake. I want that competition to happen when Jake has a full year under his belt in the program.
Yes.
Because there's no way he's beating out TVD just coming in off the street from high school when TVD has been in there for a year. And by all accounts that we've heard, been a stud. He has been latching onto everything and doing everything perfectly. So, I want that to be a true competition. So I want the Tierra to stay a year so that Jake has a full year. First of all, he's only like a $190. Tyler Van Dyke's 6'4", 220, dude. Jake's 6'2", 190. So Jake has to bulk up. Jake needs to get with Feely in the weight room, and who's been doing an amazing job with the team. But I want him to have a full year. So so Tierra, would love for him to stay. And I also don't see him going.
Right.
I don't know if he even gets drafted. I think he's an undrafted free agent or maybe a flyer in the 6th or 7th round. That's not guaranteed money. Right. I think listen, and I'm not sure that he's ever going to be a first or second round pick, but I think, listen, when I'm a huge Seahawks fan. So I see a lot of Russell Wilson in him, except for the deep ball, which he's gotten better at. And I think another year working with even better receivers coming in, some true freshmen that we got, some real studs coming in, and Harley again. I'd like to see him another year of going. I think he could be like a 3rd round draft pick in the NFL if he comes back and he gets that deep ball down, because outside of that, he's got the escapability. He's got the foot speed, and that's the big thing in the NFL now with quarterbacks.
Yeah, I think Tierra King is just a college football playmaker. That's the way I view him. I think under, kind of
a leader.
A Sam Ellinger, a Pat White. They just make plays at the college football level. It's very hard to be an NFL starting quarterback. There's
only 32 of them.
Dan Orlovsky tons of times on your show. I'm sure he can tell you how, stringent it is to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. So, I'm not even sure at another position where he could line up. I don't see him at receiver at the next level.
No, he's a quarterback. He's a quarterback. I think it'll, listen, he'd be like a Russell Wilson. That's it. He's going to be a sub 6 footer that he has to be able to throw a great deep ball. That's going to be the key for him. So if he can perfect that this next year coming back, because he's not there yet. I'll tell you that right now. There's no way the NFL scouts are like, oh yeah, I'm going to use a draft pick on him right now. I just don't see it. But one more year, I think he could jump into that 3rd round area.
Toast, any other players right now on this roster you believe should return as well next year?
Yeah, basically all of them. I get if Roche wants to go. Came in here basically as a postgraduate. I'd like to see Jalen come back for one more year. I'm pissed off the way that the Greg opted out of the season. Listen, I got no problem with these kids going to go pro, but some of these kids are getting bad advice. Now, granted, Jalen is going to get drafted regardless. He will get drafted. It's where is he going to get drafted? Same with Rousseau. So those guys want to go. At least they're going to get drafted. It's not like some kids over the last few years that have not, and now they're out of the game. They're driving a UPS truck and stuff like that. But I'll tell you what. I think 99% of these kids need to come back. I think Bubba needs to come back. I don't think Bubba's ready. He's too inconsistent. I think basically you got the 3 D linemen. Those are the 3 guys I think can go and will get drafted.
Yes.
And then Brevin, no. Brevin was going to be a 1st round pick. Dude, you're not on the field enough. I'm sorry. You can't be in the training room more than you're on the field and expect an NFL team and an NFL GM to use a high draft pick on you, because then he's going to get roasted. If you come in, if you're injury prone from day one, they're going to be like, use a 2nd round pick on this kid. He was injured half the time in Miami. What are you talking about? You have to be on the field more. You just do. The talent is there, but it's got to be on the field more.
So believe it or not, Toast, I have a friend of mine. He comes on my show a lot. His name is Stu. He's very well connected in the college football world. Good friend of his. He attended the John Mackey kind of press conference to set up the semifinalists, the award list. They kind of give out their candidates. And when they spoke about Brevin Jordan, everyone in that press conference spoke very, very highly of him. They had nothing bad to say about him. They said he's all around a solid player.
Yeah, no, he is, but he's not on the field enough.
And that's where I'm going, because as we've seen last year, if you get like a 3rd, 4th round grade, you are gone. Kids left in the 6th or 7th round, undrafted free agents. And, when Rousseau declared, like you mentioned, they're getting bad advice, not necessarily Rousseau is the example, but, 5 minutes later, he gets represented by University alumni Drew Rosenhaus. What do you think is causing these players just to take off? I'm scared that it's going to reoccur, and how can we just stop this issue?
Listen, I don't know if you can stop it. I think there's so many issues that go on behind the scenes that we're never aware of. A lot of these kids come from families that are in depressed financial situations. And the fact that they just see the potential of even a 6-figure salary, like making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year, is huge. That gets their parents out of debt. So I think we really can't. It sucks, but it's not going to go away. It's not just us; it happens to other schools. But I just think the best thing that you can do is from within the program, Manny, and I think the biggest one, I think this is something that Ed Reed can do. I think this is where Ed Reed can make a real big imprint on this program as CEO, is that he sets up the evaluation process for the next level. Because what he says, these kids will believe. If he tells these kids, if they're hearing it from the GOAT, who's got the gold jacket on and the stogie in his mouth, I just think if coming from him, it will have much more credibility than some analyst that the team brought in who's a paper pusher. So I think that's Ed's biggest contribution right now, could be keeping some borderline kids, talking them into, bro, you can suck it up for one more year. Your family has sucked it up for 18. They can do it for 19. One more year and it will be worth it. Instead of 100,000, it'll be $1 million. And I think he can make that case to these kids.
Yeah, that's a great example.
I think that's the job of a CEO, right?
Yeah,
kind of. I mean, well, for what he can't do in terms of being an official coach and stuff, like that's perfect for him to be that guy that brings the credibility.
I'm very curious how long Ed Reed stays around the program. What are his intentions? Kind of,
How about if he's cornerback coach next year?
Yeah. Hey, that would be great. And then we can slowly move him up to defensive coordinator, and then who knows?
I think he wants to coach.
I think so too. When I interviewed Hugh Jackson, he told me, a lot of coaches want to stay in the NFL. It's a lot, they don't want to handle the recruiting and, trying to develop players for 3 years. They just kind of want to evaluate, draft someone, and then just, coach them up. Yep. Recruiting really is a lot of the job, the traveling and the time.
Well, I think that's the part that kills some of these. That's the difference between these NFL guys like Lovie Smith. I think they don't realize the recruiting is 24/7, 365. Yeah. Now this year is different because there's been no visits. It's all been virtual, so it's been much easier on them and their families this year. But normally, yeah, dude, these guys are flying all over the country, and it's nonstop.
Absolutely. And speaking of recruiting, Toast, do you believe that we should stick to the transfer portal? Like Lincoln Riley, for example, he's done a tremendous job at the quarterback position, bringing in Jalen Hurts, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray. Or do you believe we should develop from the high school level, take them in as freshmen, and then work their ways up to juniors and seniors?
I would love for our focus to be on development, but right now we're using our best players this year were from the portal.
Right.
Offense and defense, our best players are from the portal. So right now, until that development has caught up with the talent that we can get with the portal, then you keep using the portal. And I think that we have an advantage here. We have a very attractive destination for a lot of these places, for a lot of these gloomy, doomy winter places. And I think you keep using the portal you use the portal to fill your holes. That's what the portal is going to be there for, to fill your holes. You can't have so many holes that you need tons of portal every single year. You have to be able to develop guys, but if you can pick off one or two guys every year that are going to come in and make an immediate impact, go do it. Use all the tools available to you, Manny, all of them.
I think the transfer portal is a Band-Aid, and I think it can work tremendously if you nail it.
You can't rely on it. You can't rely on it. But you can use it to plug a hole or two holes.
Right, exactly. And we saw last year that Manny Diaz's goal was to land Jalen Hurts. He struck out. Oh, Tate Martell, Miami Martell. He's the future. Well, I don't even think he got snaps at a quarterback. It was 2 snaps against Louisiana Tech or 1 drive.
That was good looking 2 snaps too, man. That was, I remember that one. Oh my God.
Man.
Wow.
I think that Netflix was his peak, I guess, right?
I think it was, yes. Listen, he's a damn good recruiter.
Yeah.
And if they can get their buddy from USC to come on over and bring us a leading linebacker for next year, that'd be great. Love that.
Absolutely. No, Toast. I 100% agree. Toast, moving on back to, kind of the overview of the season. What was your season prediction before the season started, and how satisfied are you with the 2020 Miami Hurricanes overall season?
It's a complicated question. So beforehand, I believe my season prediction, this was based on 11 games. We were going to go 9-2, and then we were going to win our bowl game and end up going 10-2. So I picked that we would lose to Clemson. I didn't pick that we wouldn't show up against Clemson. So going to North Carolina, I was ready to give Manny, and I asked Fowler to grade this on the last time we had him on, right before the North Carolina game, that week before. Give Manny a grade. He said, I hate to give grades before the season is fully complete. He's like, but he's like, right now with everything's going where you were coming from, and I agree with him, the grade was a B, and I was right there in agreement, a B. My grade for him right now is a C- on the season. Wow. Because there were only two games that mattered on this schedule. Don't talk to me about FSU. We knew FSU was trash. We knew that wasn't going to stop. We're going to have a decade of dominance against those guys, and it's beautiful, but they're inconsequential right now. They're not a measuring stick. Two games mattered. Clemson, to see how far you are from the best team in the country, and North Carolina, who is your rival in the division. That is the team that you're going to be battling for the next 4, 5, 6 years in the Coastal Division to get into the ACC title game with no more Notre Dame. And you didn't show up to either one of them. 21-3 at the end of the first quarter of North Carolina, 14-3 at the end of the first quarter to Clemson. You did not show up. And that is, listen, man, we're Miami Hurricanes. Those are the games that matter. Like, I don't care 48-0 against Duke. Like, bro, I am in my 40s, okay? Duke isn't there will never be respect for me when it comes to Duke and their football. Miami should beat Duke 50-0 every single year. The fact that they've been a thorn in our side was embarrassing in itself for the last number of years. Yeah. So I give them a C-. You failed in your two biggest games, and they didn't show up. If you had lost both those games by a field goal or by 10 points, but you were in it late in the fourth quarter, I'd still give them a B on the season, maybe a B-, but not now. No, you didn't show up, bro. You didn't show up, and that's on him.
Toast, when I went to the Clemson game, I was talking to a few Clemson fans before the game. It's sad because the Clemson fans were telling me, hey, like, we actually want Miami to give us a good football game because we're the only ones in the ACC contributing. Yeah. And as history has shown, Miami does not show up in big games. Oh, but how about
we used to.
Right. Well, no, I'm saying sorry. My apologies. In the past,
the past 15, 16 years, yeah.
That's what I meant. Sorry, my apologies. The 2017 game against Notre Dame, we played great, but Notre Dame was actually very overrated that year. They weren't really a national title contender, neither were we by any means. LSU in Dallas, Clemson in Charlotte, Clemson in Death Valley.
All Clemson games.
Well, also, too, North Carolina as an offense, I thought that was one of the best offenses in the nation. I'll stand by it. If anybody wants to argue, fine. But I thought that was a great offense. If they had a good defense, that's a top 10 team. If they had a good defense. And we didn't show up.
No, and that's the thing. And we had praised him because we'd gotten over the bye week blues this year. They were 3-0 coming out of bye week. So, we got over that hurdle. That's awesome. And it's just like, yeah, man, I mean, you laid an egg in the two biggest games. And that just doesn't work. No one else we played this year was ranked. This schedule sucked. Louisville never turned out to be as good as everyone thought they were going to be preseason. North Carolina State had lost, so they weren't ranked because they had just lost to North Carolina in the rivalry game the week beforehand. So, we didn't have any quality wins. And so when fans are pissed off, well, how are we only 10? Because you only played one ranked team. They were number one, and you got rolled. We got rolled. We used to roll all the time. We got rolled. And then North Carolina. 60. I mean, they got the T-shirts now with the U down.
Oh my god!
Oh, they're selling them now. And you know what? My scoop on the OBB had the great idea. Manny should buy 200. And these kids should have to wear that as their practice shirt underneath their pads every day until the bowl game. Even the new kids that are coming in January. Forget it. You signed. You got to wear this, and you can't wash it. It's got to stink. You have to smell that 62-26 until the bowl game.
I think why the North Carolina game hurt a lot for me was. Here's one thing. Mac Brown had 2 years to really take over a very weak, talented North Carolina football team under Larry Fedora. I mean, Chaz Surratt was their starting quarterback. Larry Fedora was last year. And now he's their starting linebacker.
Start for us, too.
Yeah, he could start for us. He'd be an All-American.
Yep.
He'd lead the team in total tackles. But, it took Mac Brown 2 years to completely obliterate Miami. It's the same 2 years Manny Diaz had, and Mac Brown fired Manny Diaz at Texas. We know the BYU game. It's kind of the similar scenario. So it was really kind of a teacher teaching their student, like, hey, I'm a national champion head coach.
This is revenge, dude. I firmly believe that Mac believes that Manny's the reason why he had to leave Texas the way he did. I mean, he fired Manny to save his high, but it only lasted, another year? Yeah. I believe that he believes that him bringing in Manny was the hire that ended up costing him his gig at Texas. He didn't get to go out the way he wanted to because he hired the wrong DC, and it all fell apart on him. And dude, listen, that play call to Howell to score the touchdown. Oh, dude, that's salt in the wound. That's a mentor's. That was Mac Brown giving him the finger. Like, you know what, dude? Like, my legacy is tarnished because of you, and you still obviously haven't learned the lessons that we talked about that day against BYU. Because I just did it to you again. I just ran for 554 on you, Manny. 554 with the O-line coach that you used to have and you fired.
God, man, what a nightmare. Wake me up.
I mean, Manny, dude, Mac Brown owns him. He is Manny's daddy. He is Manny's daddy. Pedro Martinez, yeah, Manny, just say it. Mac, you're my daddy. You're my daddy.
Oh, my gosh. You got to bring up Pedro. You got to bring up Pedro Martinez.
Of course. I'm a Red Sox fan, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
There you go. Well, hopefully we don't have like 90 years without winning a national
title. No. Listen, dude, I will tell you this. You asked what I thought about this class earlier, like and who my favorite players were. I believe this is the class that gets us our first ACC title.
Beautiful.
I believe this is the class that gets us at least 2 Coastal Division crowns, and I believe this is the class that gets us back in the CFP. I don't know if we'll win it, but I think this class is on the team that gets us back into our first CFP.
30 minutes in the show, over 115 people live with us right now. Thank you, everyone, so much. We got Toast from the OBB Boys. He also does 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh. Great show, passionate fans talking sports and Canes football. Toast, have you been to stickersbyab.com?
I have not, no.
Okay, check those guys out.
Okay.
Best custom design stickers for Miami Hurricanes football. You have Miami Heat, Miami Marlins, Miami Dolphins. Anything you want, check them out. Use the discount code SCOOP. All caps. Just remind yourself of your co-host. % off all your orders. So
cool.
Check them out. Stickersbyab.com.
I will.
Toast. What improvements do we have to face offensively and defensively moving forward? We'll start with the offense.
Oh, the offense. Listen, we have a great class of young offensive linemen coming in. We already got a couple young good ones that we didn't see this year already on the roster. I think that's where we're first going to see the biggest improvement, where we need to see the biggest improvement is in the trenches with the offensive line. And I think that with Guerin, I think that we've got the right coach. I think with this crew that is coming in right now, I think you're going to see a significant improvement from – now, I don't know how good they're going to be against Alabama week 1. So it's just, those guys are monsters. But I think you're going to see, I think by the end of next season, Cane fans are going to be elated with where their offensive line is now and what they see for the future of our offensive line. Next on offense, is the receiver situation. We need an alpha. We need a guy that will go up and fight and battle and come down with the ball, and we don't have that right now. We also need all these receivers from week 1 to stay after practice and use the jugs machine. That's great that Harley had a good second half of the season, but these guys were non-existent, and a couple other guys didn't show up for the entire season. I cannot wait for these young true freshman wide receivers. I think a couple of them are going to get on the field early and often and beat out some of these upperclassmen. And I hope the coaching staff allows that to happen, because this coaching staff has shown a favoritism towards upperclassmen and guys that have been in the program longer, despite getting outplayed in practice by younger guys, and that has to stop. It's got to be all about competition on offense and defense, on everything moving forward. No more favoritism, no more sitting Gregory Rousseau, because there's a legacy that's been here for 17 years. Love Patchen, that's fine, but that's not a reason why you get to start. It's just not. Now when there's a first-round draft pick behind you. Defensively, it's the secondary. We need cornerbacks. I need safeties that won't get kicked out of the game in the first 5 minutes. Amari, like, seriously, they have to stop targeting people. It's not even funny anymore. It's pathetic. It's sad. Like, these rules now have been in place for like a decade. These kids, these rules have been in place. Heads up tackling had been in place since before these kids played high school ball, before they played middle school ball. So there's no excuses for this anymore. You can't be Sean Taylor out there. Love 26. You can't be him out there. Doesn't exist anymore. That player no longer is allowed to play, and certainly not for Miami, because officials will throw a flag on us faster than any other team. So, yeah, and we need a new defensive coordinator.
Yeah, of course. The most important part. Toast, offensively, we need to develop the run game for me.
Oh, right. But I think that comes with the offensive line because we have the studs at running back. Dude, I love the guys we have. And the fact that they held on to Thad, who I thought Thad was gone. I thought that was the one guy that was going to jump ship. But I love our running back room. Cam's going to end up coming back. But I think you'll see that with the offensive line. As the offensive line improves, that is good. The run game is going to explode. Yeah. I'm telling you, because we got the horses.
Yeah, no, I really do. I like the offensive lineman recruits we have coming in.
Oh, Rodriguez, McLaughlin. I mean, come on, dude. These guys are studs.
By the way, Toast, I don't know if you're into kind of fun facts or kind of a little bit of history.
Sure.
Every year we won a national title. There's been
here we go.
Lineman from Christopher Columbus Senior High School.
Yep.
Rodriguez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also it's pretty good when we have a California quarterback on the roster.
I know, right? Oh my!
Wow. That was always the listen. Growing up a Canes fan 20 years ago, 30 years ago, that was always we went local. And we always picked out this nice young little good looking quarterback from California and brought him on down, and that was the secret juice, the secret sauce.
Last couple of quarterbacks from Southern California: Brad Kaya, Kyle Wright.
Let's not bring up Kyle.
Yeah. I thought Brad was a pretty good.
I love Brad. No, I love Brad. I wish Brad could come back for one more year. Oh yeah, God, I wish that's the. But he's doing great, dude. He's at USC Film School. Like we're gonna hear from Brad. Brad's second career is gonna be spectacular. I love that guy. He's all good people.
And that he was a silent leader. I felt like. I would love to see someone like Trevor Lawrence, that kind of personality. Mm-hmm. He's just game ready every single time. Yeah. And I hope, we're seeing that with Tierra King as a leader, and it will transition to the next quarterback, hopefully.
Exactly.
That's where it starts, is good quarterback play.
Well, and that's why you need to have everything lined up. So that's why it's imperative that Rhett Lashley stay here for at least 2 years to make sure that after he goes, the offense is still here, that it's still going to be ingrained, because that has to be the consistent. Like you can't lose the offense because he leaves to take a head coaching job that we all know is going to come eventually. So that's why it's important that the foundation is being built. And I like the way Manny's doing it. Is Manny going to get it done? I don't know. I'm still not sure if he's that guy, but he's doing a good enough job to allow him to continue in my mind right now.
And that led me to my next question. I was going to ask you, Toast. Do you still think Manny Diaz can lead Miami to a national title if let's say he makes the changes defensively? Pride comes before the fall. I just saw The Departed like last week. I'm obsessed with that movie. That's one of my favorite movies of all time. Will he drop his pride and bring in a new defensive coordinator with a new defensive scheme, new ideas? I don't think so.
I think he is willing to do that. I think the bigger issue for Manny, because I think he's shown the ability that he will cut you loose. Because if he knows, he did it on the offensive side. I think he'll do it on the defensive side. I would hope so, because it's pretty much the same situation. And granted, Blake's like his BFF, but still, now we know Golden didn't do it, and we know how that ended, and Manny knows how that ended when Golden wouldn't fire his best friend DC, who was just destroying the team with Swiss cheese defense. So yeah, but now my bigger issue for Manny is I think Manny flat out needs to become a better head coach.
Yes. He
needs to become a better motivator of young men. Is this stuff that you want him learning on the job? I'm not so sure, but I love the fact that he's local. I love that he's in Miami. I love the fact that he was in the Orange Bowl when I was in the Orange Bowl watching those teams as a fan. So I love the fact that he knows where the bar is. He knows what we're trying to get back to, whether we can ever get back. But even if we get 75% of what we had, dude, we're going to be very, very happy with how things are going. We'll be making college football playoffs and stuff like that. But yeah, he needs to become a better head coach. And I would say this next year is going to be the real big year for Manny. I believe the 2021 year is going to be a huge, huge year. And we're going to learn a lot about whether or not he's the guy or whether or not he's not after next season.
I wholeheartedly agree. That Alabama game is going to be very interesting.
And how he responds to the Alabama game. Because let's be honest. If you think we're going to go in there and compete and win that game, wow, you are a better fan than me. Because I see this being more like Clemson this year. I do. And it's the first game of the season. There's a lot of football after that, a lot of things to be played for. It'll be a non-conference game. How do we come back from that? How does he handle that? That's the key.
Toast, who is your opponent prediction for the bowl game, and what is your score prediction?
That's the Cheez-It Bowl.
I love Cheez-Its.
Yeah. Yeah. No, everyone gets a wheel of aged cheddar that has an attitude, I guess, from the commercials. I don't know. I mean, what? So we got to play an SEC squad? Is that what is that the Cheez-It?
I think it's going to be Texas or Oklahoma.
Oh, so yeah, they were saying Texas or yeah. Listen, I'll be I'm not sure I like that matchup for us. We don't do well in bowl games with history out, I mean, so let's say it's Texas. Oh God, who's going to opt out? Who's going to opt out of those? So you're probably not going to have Jalen because he's going to get ready for the draft. See about Roche. Defensive line could be decimated by guys getting ready for pre-draft workouts. I say Texas wins that game. Sam Ehlinger trying to make a statement. 35-24.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, no, I see it the same way. I think it's going to be 48-28, 48-34 Texas.
Now, I will say this. If the only thing that we have a wild card that could change that, and that is Tierra King could will a team to victory. He could have a performance that, everyone's like, no, get behind our horse. So he is the wild card. Tierra King is a leader. He could blow all that away.
Toast, do you have time for a quick Q&A? Should be around 5 minutes.
Yeah, man. Go.
Awesome.
Sure.
Let's do it. All right. Who should Manny get as a defensive
coordinator? Yeah, you can't ask me. I don't know who the hell the hot young guys are. I don't know. Like, who's the great linebacker? I don't know who those guys are. That's why I'm not an analyst. I'm not, that's why I'm not on ESPN or any of these services. Yes, I don't know. I would trust him to make the right hire. He made the right hire with Red Lashley. So I would think, I always was told that athletic directors and general managers always have a list of like 5 guys in their desk, that a short list in their head already working for who their next head coach or athletic director or GM is going to be. And I would like to think that Manny has a little list in his on his computer, on his tablet, with a few guys' names that he has worked with over the years that are doing real, that he knows are up and coming guys and that have earned their shot at being a DC and putting together great years right now. And so I'll have confidence in that. But I don't have a name for you. I do not. Sorry.
Toast, you mentioned the run game being paramount to our success next year. Give me your best starting 5.
Oh, damn, dude. Son of a bitch. Really? Oh, this segment sucks. I don't know the best 5. I mean, I'm excited to see Isaiah Walker Jr. I think he's a huge linchpin. I want to see how many of these freshmen can win a job. I think there's going to be legitimate competition between these 3 freshmen to actually supplant someone that's already there. So I mean, and Donaldson, listen, he came back. He looked good. So listen, 2 years ago I liked Ja'Kai Clark. But then he kind of disappeared this year. So I don't know. But what I do know is that I'm confident that we will have a better 5 next year than we do this year, and that all of us as a fan base, as I said earlier, I think by the end of next year we're going to be very satisfied with where the offensive line stands for last year and going into the future, with the new recruits coming in and the progression of what we're seeing. So, yeah.
Toast, who's your favorite receiver right now on the roster?
I guess I'll say Harley, but man, I'm pissed at all of them. That comment about the jugs machine and not saying after practice, dude, that was offensive. That was offensive to an old school Miami Hurricane fan. And I think it was just as offensive when you saw the reaction of like guys like Lamar Thomas and Michael Irvin and stuff like that. I mean, that was, so all those guys are in my doghouse right now. I'm going to be honest with you, all of them. I will credit Harley for coming back strong the last few games and for him owning up to that. But that entire position group is spent this entire season in where, I mean, Pope and Wiggins, just, oh my God. Yeah, whole position group, they're all in my doghouse. I do not have a favorite wide receiver on this team right now. You know who my favorite wide receiver is? Jacoby George. Plantation kid. There you go. Jacoby George is my favorite wide receiver on this team right now. How about that?
Representing Broward County.
He's right down the street from me, man. Right down the street.
From Virgie, should Miami never wear the Miami Knights jerseys again? What do you think?
I think you can wear them at night. No more 3:30 games. No more 3:30 games. You wear those at night in front of a packed ass house under the lights at the Rock. That's when you wear those jerseys. That's when you wear them, not at 3:30 in front of nobody.
Who's going to be the starting running back next year for the Miami Hurricanes?
He has a junior at the end. It's Don. I think he's the best running back we have on the roster. I really do. I think the best thing that happened to Cam and to Jalen this year was the fact that he was coming off of an injury and he could not participate very early on in offseason ball. I think had he been going full bore with them, I think he would have flat out beaten out Jalen, and I think he would have been the starter by the end of the season over Cam. I think he's the horse. He is the stud.
Toast, 1 through 10, how confident are you that King comes back?
9.5.
9.5. I love it, man.
Yeah.
Gotta love it, guys. Toast from the Orange Bowl boys. Check them out, man. 4th and 20 with Marsh and Toast. Is that what Toast and Marsh?
It's 4th and 20 with Toast and Marsh. It's a podcast. It also streams live 6 until 8 every morning on the MyTuner radio app. Just search Onside Radio and you can check us out live or just do the podcast.
Toast, thank you so much for your time, man. Like I said earlier, man, I was just a young adult listening to you guys, and I was like, hey, maybe I'll make my own channel. I had Roman on. I have you on now. So thank you so much, man. Greatly appreciate it. I think all of us as fans appreciate what you guys are doing with the Canes content you are providing us. So thank you.
Listen, man, I mean, thank all the fans, all you guys, because it's, we've got a great fan base and everyone's listening to everywhere else's podcast. You've done a great job with this. Now we just got to get we got to get 2 scoops on here now. We got to get it done so there's 2 scoops show up on this thing. But yeah, man, congratulations to you and everything you're doing. It's been fun. The digital realm of Canes fans right now and the content we're all putting out, I think is pretty cool. And everyone kind of supporting everybody else. And yeah, it's all quality content too. People that know what they're talking about. So good stuff, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, Toast. Have a great rest of your day and always all about you.